Have you ever used CorelDRAW's Trace feature to pull in an image from somewhere else, only to find that it's a total mess when you get it traced? If your image has some straight lines and regular curves in it, then I've got a pretty good solution for you. Stick around. Welcome to CorelDRAW Techniques. My name is John Allred. Today we're going to go over how to clean up a messy trace. Okay, I was watching some YouTube videos, and I do that a lot. And I was watching one guy who was going through a description of how to use all of the shape tools. And he did a pretty good job. It was a good video, but he reached a point where he pulled this image in, and this is actually a scan from his web page. So I'm using roughly the same image that he did. He pulled it in, and then he spent a lot of time using various techniques to try to clean it up. And I thought that he was kind of taking the long way around, and I could do it better. So this is my attempt to do that better and show it to you. This is a traced image, and I have two objects here. I've cleaned this up a little bit. It had some more objects that I got rid of. This is boiled down to the basics. There's two numbers represented with two basic shapes. The first is a curve with 84 nodes. The second is a curve with 100 nodes, and of course it's got three subpaths. One is the outside path, and then the other two are the inside paths for these cut out areas. The method that the other guy was using was to use the smooth tool. And watch this now. You remember there were 100 nodes in this. I'm going to use the smooth tool and take some of these out. All right, so now let's see what I've got. I've got 76 nodes, so I got rid of 24 nodes doing that. And I guess you could say it looks a little better. And in some cases, you might say good enough, because it's straighter than this. You can see how wiggly all this is? And these appear to be much straighter. Now you could go in and do a little bit more. Set some of these as lines, and then delete some of the nodes and straighten it up that way. So you could do that, and that would probably eventually work out, but you wouldn't have any guarantee that everything lined up. And if that's important to you, there's a better way to do this that uses CorelDRAW's guidelines. So let me go ahead and set this up. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to add another layer. And I'm going to call this New Shapes. Okay, so we're going to set up a system of guidelines. I'll show you how we're going to do this. I've currently got my guidelines Docker open. You can go to Window, Dockers, and click on Guidelines, and yours will then display too. And it's useful to have it up. It'll help you create your guidelines faster. So I'm going to pull this one in, and I'm going to, all right, so that's lining up over the node on that corner, which is good. I want to make sure that I have guidelines selected, which if I didn't, I couldn't see these. And also I want Snap to and have guidelines selected there. We're going to add some nodes, and we're going to be snapping them to the guidelines that we create here. Okay, so I got my first guideline. I'm going to click on that again. Well, let me select the pick tool. There we go. All right, and I'm going to move the center of rotation down to this point, and then I'm going to rotate the guideline around here. And now I've got the guidelines Docker open, And I can go ahead and set this to 80, an even 80. Modify that. So now I'm going to add, and each one that I add will be based off of the previous one. Then I can move that over to here. Add again. Move that to here. I'm going along each of the vertical or almost vertical lines that I've got. And I'm going to go ahead and zip through this pretty fast. Okay, and now I'm going to make my horizontal guidelines. I'll snap those roughly. I'm going to make some decisions about where to put these. Typefaces are not necessarily even, and they're not necessarily evenly spaced, the elements. So I'm going to make some decisions here. I think that this top line on the 3 is going to be higher than the corresponding one for the 8. So I'm going to make another guideline there. And let me see. I'm going to assume that there are 2 different spots for these horizontal lines as well. Be just as easy to make one line here and make them the same. But, I mean, if I were creating this from scratch, I would still have those choices to make. So that's the choice that I choose to make. All right, almost there. Okay. All right, now notice something. And remember that we're working from objects here that are fairly irregular because of the trace. So I don't know if what I'm looking at is accurate or not. We'll zoom in just enough to see these. All right, now let me back up here and see what I've got arranged. All right, I've got, get the guides out of the way. All right, I've got both of these shapes on layer 1. I'm going to prevent that layer from being disturbed. And then I'm going to work on new shapes, and I'm going to put my nodes in on this layer. I'm going to use the Bezier tool for this because I'm going to make continuous lines, but I'm going to click on discrete points. I want to click on where these guidelines actually intersect. I don't want to click on what shows here for the existing shape. So that's the first one. This is the second one. I can make a curve going around to there, and this next segment will make a line, and we'll make a curve to there. Well, I missed that one, but I'll clean it up in a minute. Same here. I'm not going to hit this intersection. I'm going to hit this one. Actually, that's not an intersection. So I'm going to hit this intersection here. And then this one. Yeah, I missed that one too. That one. There. Now notice these shapes, the bottom shape here is flat, and they're going to get 2 nodes, and that'll make it easy to do. Same here, and I'm going to click. Actually, I think I'm going to make these rounded. Come to think of it, they're all kind of close, and I don't want the the corner curves to be too sharp. So here we go. Now that shape I can make as a curve, as a single curve, and this one also I can make as a single curve. I'm going to go there. This is going to be big curve. There we go. And that should make my curve. Okay, it does. Let me select my shape tool. For any given line or any given curve, there will be a node on each end of the segment, and that single node will control whether that line is, well, it'll control that line or curve. So I've got one node selected. I'm going to select curve, and I see that that went for that one. So that's not what I want. Go back to line, and I'm going to select that one and make it a curve. And that's exactly what I want. Same here. Make that a curve. Make both of these curves. Make that one a curve. And so on. Okay. Both of those. That one. That one. And those two. So I've got several curves now, and I can get pretty close just by clicking on the curve segment and moving it up that way. And I'm going to make fairly consistent curves doing it this way, but I'm going to snap the node handles onto the grid lines. Okay. Take that out a little bit. That one up just a little bit. Make sure I'm on the line, on the intersection. Okay. There we go. So I'll zoom out, and I have what looks to be a pretty good looking 3. I'm going to turn this one back on. I've got the blue mostly covered up. Let me turn the guidelines off, and I'm going to go in here to layer 1. Turn the lock off, and I'll select that first one. Take it out. And now we have what looks like a pretty good 3 that's a good match to this 8. I'm going to go ahead and leave this file as it is. I'll have the 3 here on the left side, the other on the right, and then you can just download this file. I'll leave the address for this file in the description below, and you can download this file and just go ahead and continue working with it yourself. Do the same thing that I did with this. I'd suggest starting at this point right here. Zoom in a little bit. I'd suggest starting here. Let me go back, turn these guides on. Then be sure to start on this lower guideline here. And then go up to this intersection here, and this one, and so forth. And when you get to the insides, you can use one node up here in the top, one on each side, and that'll allow you to make this come out like you want it, like that. Okay, so once again, I'll leave that link to that file in the description below, and I hope you'll take time to experiment with it and get that technique under your belt. Okay, if you got good, useful information out of this video, I hope you'll take time to click on the like button down below, and also to click the subscribe button and ring the bell if you want to be notified of more videos coming from me. I thank you so much for being with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.